while we're talking through this, I would like the rest of you... I would like the rest of you to look at your own and compare your own, and maybe you did something differently that can help Kyle understand how he did something better, or maybe the discussion will make you realize that you could have done something a little bit better. Okay, so, and here's so claims are in yellow, evidence is in pink, warrants are in green. Kyle said, we have concluded that C killed Fannin. The evidence, if you look at the footprints in the water, you can see that it wasn't A because the only footprints come from the other side and direction. Therefore, it is narrowed down to either B, C, or D. At first glance, you think it would be impossible to tell who the victims. Okay, well, this is kind of intro material. The owner, Ernie, said that all he knew was that the shooter leaned against the wall when he shot Fannin. If you look at the handprint on the wall, it's the killer's right hand, which would mean the gun was in the murderer's left hand. Most of the time, the hand when someone eats with... Okay, I see what you're doing. They changed it to make it so that the warrant didn't say you. With a dominant hand would mean a person would use that hand in everything he or she does. Okay? Is this a sound warrant? If it was B or D, would be the left-handed print on the wall because the gun would be in their right hand and not the left. Isn't this also kind of a warrant? Now, this isn't a warrant that's a general rule. It's a warrant that is directly applied to the situation. But it's still, if someone's right-handed, they'll shoot with their right hand, is basically what this is saying. So this is also a warrant. I'll mark it in green because I have a green marker here. Okay? Now, any thoughts about how Kyle could have improved this paragraph?
More evidence.
What evidence could he have brought in?
But isn't it the evidence that C had silverware on the left side?
That what?
Like, before the pink line? Yeah, like C silverware is on the left side of the plate while everyone else is on the right. It's like evidence.
That is evidence, isn't it?
Yeah.
Can I see your pink marker? Thank you. Okay, so we do have more evidence there. So, you know what I see missing here? I think there needs to be some more warrants. What warrant is missing here? Well, let's look at this here. This, there needs to be that warrant here that if you're silverware, the people who are left-handed people who are left-handed tend to put their silverware. Therefore, that shows that A is left-handed. So there's a missing claim here too. So what he did is the evidence is there, but he needs to prove that he's left-handed. If you look at the handprint on the wall, it's the killer's right hand, which would mean that the gun was in the murderer's left hand. Okay, wait a minute. They mark this as evidence. What is this part of the sentence right here? This is a claim right here. Okay? And that's good that we have this as an example because that shows you that you can actually have one sentence that has different parts of the argument in it. You can have a sentence that has a claim and evidence. You can have a sentence that has evidence and a warrant. Yeah?
Can evidence and a claim just have to be both? Can one sentence be both?
It depends on how it's being used. If it's being presented as an opinion that the writer wants to convince you of, it's a claim. If it's being presented as something that is clear and concrete, it is evidence. If it is being presented as something that the writer already expects that you believe and is using that belief to lead you to the claim, then that's a warrant. Okay? What about this one? The only other possible killer would be Ernie. This is because he gave the police the evidence. that the cash register had been rung up. Also, Ernie is the only employee. Usually only employees clean a restaurant and are the only people near the supplies, especially when the floor is very wet by the mop. Why else would anyone go over there? Okay, this is a warrant too right here. It's not marked, but that's what it is. However, we came to the conclusion that it was more likely C than Ernie. We came to the conclusion because Ernie telling the police he leaned on the wall would be the last thing he would do if it was him, because they could just compare fingerprints. What do you think about that? Or would that be a warrant?
A little bit both.
Why?
Claim, he's kind of telling you what would have happened.
Mm-hmm.
It was just fingerprints. And warrant, I mean, it's kind of the general rule that everyone compares fingerprints to crime scene.
Yeah, I mean, the warrant here is that people aren't going to give evidence to the police that's going to incriminate themselves, is the warrant here. Okay, so it wasn't quite marked that way, but this was actually a really pretty sophisticated bit of reasoning that he used to eliminate Ernie.